The Astros now are just 3 back of the Mariners in the AL West. A lead that was once in the double digits has now essentially evaporated for the Mariners. How screwed exactly is this team? Will they be able to maintain the lead going into the All-Star break? I'm here to talk about that and much more. This is the NW Sportscast Show. Thank you guys all for tuning in. If you're here, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I'll have to get your guys' attention. And now let's talk about the current state of the Seattle Mariners and specifically the AL West. So as it stands right now, the Mariners 47-39 in their last 10 games, 3-7. The Astros are 9-1 in their last 10 games, are now 43-41, a couple of games above 500. And the Astros now have clawed their way all the way back into contention for this division, just 3 back of the lead in the AL West. And at one time, the Mariners looked like they could have absolutely killed the Astros. They looked like the Astros were out to dead. This was finally going to be the year that the giant has been slain. There was still a little bit of worry about Texas and the Rangers, that is. Not Houston, though. It was like, maybe even we get Kyle Tucker at the deadline. That was the conversation happening here in Seattle. Maybe Kyle Tucker will come to the team. Maybe they'll start to sell their good players because they realize their time to win a World Series has come and gone, and this is the year they see that. But now, the tide has completely shifted. And all the Mariners had to do was just continue to win ball games. And granted, the Astros are super, super hot. You can't do everything to stop teams who go on 9-1 record. That's obviously not sustainable. The Astros aren't going to play like that the entire time. But if the Mariners just went a few games above 500 in the last couple of weeks, this lead would still be up in the 8-9 game tier, which makes it really hard for the Astros to make that late season push. But now the perfect storm has been brewed for the Astros, where they're really hot. The Mariners are not. They're moving in opposite directions, and the Astros, just 3 games back now, are in no position to sell at the deadline. If anything, they're going to buy some starting pitching. So the Mariners now have a few decisions to make. A, they have to think, where can we find a few bats? I mean, this Mariner team, I don't have to tell you guys, you know, you're a smart audience, but first in strikeouts, last in average. Not where you want to be. If you're first in strikeouts and last in average, I mean, your offense, not just is it not good, it's atrocious. And this team is not going to get anywhere with an offense like that. Julio Rodriguez at the forefront of it all. His baseball savant page just proves it. 8th percentile chase, 13 whiff, 20 strikeout, 23% batted ball. Not going to cut it. His batting run value is way below league average at 28%. It starts there. Julio Rodriguez, not scary right now. His average has now dropped below 250. There's a lot of other guys that's also struggling. This offense is not doing good, and the Astros have taken full advantage of the Mariners' struggle. Now just are 3 games back, and the Mariners really have to lock in if they want to have this division lead by the All-Star break in a couple weeks. They got the Orioles for 3. Not an easy series at all. One of the best teams in baseball. The way the Mariners are playing, you got to think that they drop 2 of 3 against Baltimore. Then they play the Blue Jays, another not super great, but not terrible opponent. You got to think they probably lose 2 of 3 there. Again, this is all just hypotheticals, but that's just where I'm seeing this next few series going. I think they're probably going to go 2-4 in the next 6. Then they play the Padres for a couple. They got the Angels for 4, and then that's the All-Star break. But the Astros, who are playing out of their absolute damn minds right now, have an opportunity to really take a grip on the Mariners and could potentially even be a game or 2 up going into the All-Star break if things continue to go how they're going. And then out of the All-Star break, the Astros play the Mariners 3 times. So what does this all lead me to say? What is my quote-unquote hot take? The media, all about these bolsterous hot claims, these takes everyone's fascinated by. Well, mine's not that hot, you could say. Everyone knows we need a bat. Everyone knows by the trade deadline, July 30th, The Mariners better have a few big-name guys in our lineup that teams are scared of, or things are not going to go well for the Seattle Mariners. And I agree with that. But my one caveat is I think the Mariners should do a trade not at July 30th, but they should do one right now. It's time to go. And if you have to pay a slight premium for an extra month with a guy, so be it. But you need a spark in this offense. The Mariners have gone to the well in Tacoma. They've brought up, every guy you can imagine. They've brought up Rivas. They've brought up, not Marlowe. They could bring up Marlowe, I guess, see if they could find a spark there. But they've brought up Leo Rivas. They've brought up, why am I forgetting absolutely everyone? They've brought up Locklear. They've sent down Urias. They tried him out. Everybody under the sun almost, it feels like, who is somewhat major league ready, they've tried to see if they can just provide a spark in this offense. And they haven't really been able to do that to a degree enough that warrants them to stay in the Mariners. So they've already gone to that well one too many times. It's time to look elsewhere, and you cannot wait till July 30th, because right now, if this continues to happen, by July 30th, the Mariners are going to be 4 or 5 games out from the division lead. Now you're climbing uphill in the second half of the season. I think the Mariners need a big bat. They need one right now. And if you're going to have to pay a small premium, fine. But, Luis Arias and the Padres, they got a deal done, and the Padres are in a pretty good spot right now, Maybe it's because of Arias. They made that early trade. I think the Mariners got to do something sort of similar. If you have to sell some of the farm, so be it. This is still win now. It is simply with this pitching staff. It's win now. You got to think it is. And the Seattle Mariners right now are not winning right now, and it's because of the offense. So it's time to get a bat. It's time to get that ASAP. Not July 30th, but July 2nd, the day I'm recording this video. So Mariners 47-39, 547 winning percentage. 3-7 last 10 games. The Astros it's just the most freaking, oh my goodness. As a Mariner fan, this is the most expected thing. I have almost, I could tell you this would happen. I've said this. You see the national media talk about how the Astros are dead. You see the national media talk about how there's no way the Mariners can blow this. And what did I do a couple weeks ago? I went on this exact channel and I said, "Are the Mariners frauds?" That was the title. That was on the thumbnail. And I went on that video. And feel free to go watch it. I think it's a pretty entertaining video, about 12 minutes long. And I said, look, the Mariners are frauds right now. They are not as good as what the record says they are. They need a big bat, and then I think they are now no longer frauds if they get a big bat. But right now, I think that they are outplaying what their expectations are. They are not as good as what the record says they are. And pretty much my general sentiment was that the Mariners should consider themselves extremely lucky to be not just, a few games, not just 10 games over 500 at the time, but also 10 games up on the division. Extremely lucky. And this is not going to be able to sustain themselves. And now fast forward a couple weeks later, I'm not going to say I put that into fruition, but I will say that this is kind of what I've expected. I've expected the Mariners to kind of go on this kind of fall off because this team isn't that good right now. The offense isn't good enough. It's terrible. And the pitching staff, although great, and not just great, elite, they're not going to be able to carry this bad of an offense consistently. And although the Astros, I didn't necessarily predict to go on this, crazy heater where they've won 9 of their last 10, you do got to think that was going to happen at some point. And unfortunately, it's happening when the Mariners are also struggling. And this perfect storm has led to where we are right now on July 2nd, where the Mariners are just 3 games up on the division lead. So, yeah, now's the time. If you're Jerry Dipoto, if you're Justin Hollander, even if you're the pathetic ownership group of the Seattle Mariners, pathetic. And I know none of you guys are ever going to watch my videos, but My goodness, I hate you guys. So I can say that here because you're never going to watch. And even if you did, I would still say it because I hate the ownership group of the Seattle Mariners. Holy. We would have had at least one World Series ring if it was just not because of that freaking ownership group. This is the time to buy. And they have to realize that. Like, this is the golden opportunity. So if they don't want to jump on it and they want to continue to sell out stadiums to loyal Northwest Mariners fans who shouldn't keep up with this BS, but they will anyways because they love baseball, then so be it. But if they want to show any ounce of care for this team and for the Mariners winning a World Series, now's the time to freaking get on the horse and get going. Smell the coffee, wake up, and get a big bat. And when I say a big bat, I'm not talking about random guy from Cincinnati who's batting sixth in their lineup. I mean, give me a break. I'm talking about Vladimir Guerrero Jr. I'm talking about, some big name player that the Mariners fans can A, get excited about, but B, that other teams look at and say, damn, I do not want to pitch to that guy, because there's not one player that any team is saying that right now. There's not one guy. There's genuinely not one guy in this Mariners lineup where the other pitching staff goes up to the mound and says, I'm scared of this dude. Not one. And good teams have 3, 4, 5 of those guys. The Mariners, 0. JB Crawford, not scared of JP right now at all. Josh Rojas, maybe a few months ago, the way he's playing, give me a break. Julio Rodriguez, come on. I've already told you what I think about Julio. I've already told you what the numbers say. Julio's a better player than this, but right now, this is what he is. He's an average baseball player. There's no need to be scared of Julio. There's just no need. And even if other teams were somewhat scared of Julio Rodriguez, there's enough mediocrity to below average baseball in this team that they can just pitch around Julio. And I'm going to make a whole separate video on Julio Rodriguez because some of the stuff that I find on Baseball Savant, when you really dig deep and you look into like Julio's heart shadow chase and waste pitches, for example, or Julio's balls put into play on the outside part of the plate versus the middle of the plate, when you contrast 2023 and 2024. And there's a few very interesting statistics that I really want to make a full-length video about. So I'm not going to get into that right now because I think that deserves a little bit more time, editing, and me looking into it a little bit harder to give you guys that information. But stay tuned for that. But Julio's not scary. I mean, I can keep listing guys, but there's no point. Cal Raleigh, sure, in certain situations you could argue Cal Raleigh is scary, but that's only in positions where the Mariners need a big hit. Luke Raley, no. Good player, sure, not scary. Mitch Garver, no. Bliss, no. I mean, Haniger, no. I mean, Robles, France, Moore, Polanco, not one dude. It's bad, guys. It's bad. This team sucks right now. No other way to slice it. This team's bad at baseball, and it's time to turn around sooner rather than later. So my hot take, in quotation marks, is the Mariners need to get a bat today. Tomorrow, they should have gone a bat yesterday, for all I care. It's time to get going. It's time to trade. Yeah. Like, I understand balancing the future with the present. And, like, you can't completely sell your future away for a year that you may not even make the playoffs at this point. But at some point, you got to pull the trigger. And Colt Emerson, no, you're not trading Emerson. But Harry Ford, that's a guy where you look at and say, sorry, buddy, you could be a superstar in this league, but right now we're playing the odds. And we're thinking that you're going to be a good baseball player, but we need a hitter right now. And unfortunately, you were in freaking Everett or Arkansas. Who knows where Harry Ford is, but not in Seattle. And I don't care how good the Everett Aqua Sox are. I care how good the Seattle Mariners are. And right now, the Mariners need a hitter, and Harry Ford cannot provide that. So if Harry Ford needs to go, then you're out. If Pete needs to go, he's gone. I mean, I could go on and on about guys who I think could be traded and probably should be, because it's go time. We need to get 1 bat, 2 bats, 3 bats, red bat, blue bat. It's time to go. I'm rambling. See you guys later. It's the NW Sportscast. Like, comment, subscribe. Sorry about being kind of absent on this channel. Been very busy lately, but I'm really excited to make this Julio Rodriguez video. I'll try to do some research tomorrow night. So, as always, go Mariners, and see you guys.